Another day, another chance, another way, another dance. Today, I'll be discussing to you all about what I've been working on. Yeah, so it's gonna be lesson 10 that I'm gonna be working on. So that's pretty much yeah, that's what I'm gonna be going over today. My navigator is gonna be the double. That is gonna be my navigator. So Oprah, yeah, it's gonna be my navigator. Yeah, it's gonna be helping me. So let's get to this. Yeah. So let me go over the main.js. So what's going to be happening is I'm going to be creating a footer and a header, right? That's what I'm going to be making use of. So that's how I'm going to create. So yeah, that's going to be, and then also, yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to be going over. So let me go over my main.js. So you're going to enable strict mode to catch common JavaScript errors early. Restrict constant express, right? So constant variable is a variable in which once a value has been set to that variable, if if it changes even once, then it'll be deemed like it'll be inoperable. It'll just return an error. So that's what will happen. So what we're doing is requiring our express module from online. So that's what we're requiring. Then you got our constant app. Then we got our constant app which equals to express. So once we exported express from our online node library, what we'll do is we'll assign it to our variable called app, right? That's where we'll assign it to. Assign it to there. So we're going to be constant app express. The constant layouts require. So express EJS layout is going to be exported from our node library via our constant variable called layouts. So that's what's going to happen. Then constant home controller equals require require dot slash controllers slash home controller must exist. So what we'll do is we're going to require our controllers. So we're pretty much gonna require our home controller JS. That's what we're going to acquire. So that we're going to require. So as you see, I'll show you now. You go to controllers, and then you're going to go to home controller, and then as you can see here, our exports. We're going to export show home, and then you respond to the name. Then you got our parameters, which require any. So our parameters there resolved, then make sure that our export is greater than or equal to our variable's constant name. Require that query that name or visitor, then rest that render index the name. Export to respond with name. Request uh, comma res equal to or greater than constant username equals request that parameters that my name res that's random name, so on and so forth. So that's what happens. And then obviously you've got our locals because we don't have, our file isn't global. So that means it can't be accessed outside of this computer and this computer's version of VS Code. So we've got our direct name, file name, app, exports, express layouts, modules require this, and so on and so forth. So that's what we have. And then we're gonna go over app.set port process.env that port or 3000, right? App.set. So what happens is, right, this what this method does is it pretty much what it does is it pretty much sets everything. So it just assigns a port, right, and assigns it in such a way that also with these two columns it gives us an option. If our environment port is available, then we run that. But if it's not available, then it'll run our actual server, which is 3000. So that's what does. It pretty much sets the two options. That's what happens. And then app.set, what that does is, what it'll do here is it'll make sure that we'll be able to view our engine for like EJS. So that we'll be able to view it. So that's what will happen. Actually, I'll actually implement ChatGPT into this as help. So actually what app.set port does is this line sets configuration value. Inside the Express app, it defines which port number the server will listen on. Right? Process.env.port looks for a port number from your system's environment variables. This is important when deploying to platforms like Render, Railway, Heroku. They assign a port dynamically means if there's no environment port, use 3000 instead. So when you run it locally, your server listens at HTTP colon localhost colon 3000. This ensures your app works both locally port 3000 and online host assigned port. App.setViewEngine EJS tells Express to use EJS embedded JavaScript as its template engine. Template engines allow you to write dynamic HTML with variables, loops, and conditions. EJS files are stored by default in the views folder. You render them in routes like this. This tells Express whenever a call rest.render, use EJS to generate the HTML. Together to do this. App.set port process in vport, app.set view engine EJS, so on and so forth. So that's what happens there. And then you go over to app.use express.url encoded extended colon false. So that's what happens. So this parse your uncoded data. That's what it just parses the data from HTML form setting extended false, right? It uses Node's built-in query string library, and so on and so forth. And then what that does is it parses incoming JSON data. So that's used for APIs or AJAX requests. App.use express.json. So then enable EJS layouts to reuse headers, footers, and etc. So that's what it does. Then app.use layouts, right? So that's what happens here. So it enables EJS layouts to reuse headers, footers, and etc. So that's what it does. So you got our app, right? So as you can see, you got our parameters, request, res next, and then handle. Then you got events, max listeners, so on and so forth. Then you got use, right? So the arguments, and then you got our layouts, right? That's pretty much the variable that we actually importing into our method. So app use method enables EJS layouts to reuse headers, footers, and etc. Serves static files from the public directory. Example CSS images and client-side JavaScript. So app.use express static public. So that's what it does. So this method app use but serves static files from the public directory CSS images and client-side JavaScript. Then are expressed as static public, and then routes definitions. What that does is, wait, hold on. Let me step over to that. So what that does is it pretty much this is pretty much another part of the code. So this pretty much this code app.get with slanted slash. What this does is it routes for the home page user control method to render the view. So from our previous chapters, we learned how to reroute. So that means we send an HTTP response to different URLs using the same HTTP. So that's what happens. So it's like different URLs, right? Like for example, this case got a home controller, but using the same HTTP. So routing that accepts a dynamic parameter, which is my name. Example visiting HTTP colon localhost colon 3000 name Cabello, then we'll display a personalized greeting page. App.get name, my name, home controller dot respond name, so on and so forth. So that's what it does. So it uses a method, and then this is the actual output that we get once we use our your home controller URL. So that's the resulting method that we get. Then start a server. So to start the server and listen on the specified port. Then app.listen, app.get, and then we've got our ports, then equal to or greater than constant log. So this listens for so we do so not only are we listening for changes, but we're using our port method, right? That pretty much sets our our port right on our console, and along with help listening for any changes via the server on our console. Then for our console log, we will have a string literal that says server is running on HTTP colon localhost app.get, then port, then which pretty much it pretty much takes 3000 our variable 3000 and imports it into our string literal, and then you're gonna handle the startup errors gracefully if port is already in use. That on error, then you got error equal to or greater than console log error server failed to start. So that happens when I handle startup errors gracefully if port is already in use. So that's an error if our server failed to start, and then moving out of the the JS, what happens is we need to initialize our project first in order to make use of all the stuff that we went over. So we got npm initial. So npm is Node package modules, the biggest one in the world for Node. So what that does is just imports all our modules, libraries, and etc. So that's what it does. So, let's just initialize our project. So as you can see, we've got a package name, express templates, version, license, type. So okay, yes. Then yeah, that's what we have, and then we import npm express as well. We do npm express. So we install Mongoose. So that's install MongoDB, install Express, HTTP status codes. So we're actually installing all our node modules. And then what package-log.json, what that does is it saves, right? It pretty much saves all our node modules. It pretty much saves all our node modules. That's what it does. Then yeah, and then you got our views, right? So EJS, obviously this once you install, do npm install express. What that does is it gives functionality to our EJS views. So you got index, layout, then navigation. So that's what happens, and then you got our home controls, so on and so forth. Then node underscore modules that helps as well. So that's pretty much installs all our modules that we're gonna need to make use of in our project. So that's what happens, and then yeah, let's run this code. Let's run it. So this is the result that we have. So that's what happens, and then yeah. So obviously what this layout does is layout.ejs, what that does is the layout that you see here is what you're going to see on our front end or client side, or so yeah, that's what you can see on our client side or front end on a web page for Chrome. So navigation, hello visitor, welcome to the home page now footer. So that's what you see there. Then welcome to the home page, and then hello dash common name. Obviously, you're not gonna see it, and then navigation. So that's what. So these views are what you're gonna see there. Then the layout is the result of CSS. So that's the result. So that's what you actually see. At first, my code was wrong. We didn't have brackets. We didn't have brackets in our code, and yeah, we didn't have brackets, and that we didn't have brackets, and we we didn't add like the percentage at the end, but we need to add brackets just to show that we pretty much taking a value that's been set already and importing it into our body. So that's what. So we already have navigation. So partials navigation, we're importing it to our body here. So that's what's happening. And as a result, we have what we have. Go to inspect. Um, mouse. Then yeah, so that's what we have. Yeah, that's pretty much what we have. If for pure programming sake, anything that you want to say, that will.
Okay, so in summary, right,
Yes.
the like especially with this Express.js application, what it will do is that it will set up a server on a configurable port. So in this case, it's local 3000. It uses an EJS as the template engine and supports the layout by the Express EJS layout. Uh, it defines three routes, so we use the get, which handles requests for a specific uh, item post, will handle on submissions and JSON post requests to the root pub, and the get, so it handles requests with dynamic parameters. Then we'll stop the server and log the URL
Yeah,
when it is running.
that's exactly what it does. Just that my the, the left part of my mouse isn't working for some reason, but I'm sure we gain functionality soon. As that's pretty much what it does. Navigator, yeah, my server's working, and yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much what I
Okay.
want, really want to gain from what. Yeah, that's pretty much what I really want to gain and deduce from what I was working on. So until next time, take care, Lord bless, and thank you.